wherever you are in the world and whatever you do professionally, no one, and I repeat, no one really truly feels safe at work anymore. Safe to have job security, work security, even business security. Feels safe on how to act and behave around co-workers. Hell, they don't even feel safe just to do a healthy, normal day of work because you have no idea what's going to entail. It's a complete bloody mess, and it's getting worse, and it's total bullshit. And if you are sick and tired of bullshit and actually want to level up through truth and be held accountable along the way, join my free community, the No Bullshit Society. It's totally free to join. The link's in the description and the pinned comment down below. Now, the last time I worked for somebody else, I wanted to gouge my eyes out, but that was almost 20 years ago. And I'm not saying you have to be self-employed, but the workplace, a business, any sort of profession now no longer feels safe for most people. It is very taxing mentally, very taxing emotionally, and even though you get that paycheck, you have to ask yourself, is it bloody worth it? I recently heard some very tragic news of someone I knew personally who was very successful running their own business. And then all of a sudden, in their early 60s, they were diagnosed with a cancer. And 3 weeks later, they were dead. So what is the point in them working very hard, killing themselves in building a business, a reputation, a salary, and so on, and then finding a diagnosis, and then you're gone straight away? You're planning for that future. You're building that next life. You work so hard to get money, and then you are gone. I know that's an extreme example, but most of us are getting burnt out, stressed out, and pushed to our very, very limits. How many people do you know genuinely take a lunch break nowadays, no matter what job they do? How many people do you know are working beyond overtime? Their weekends, their evenings, well into the night. How many people do you know that are actually working 2 jobs, 3 jobs at once just to stay above water, just to get by? Yeah, don't be misinterpreting people when they go out for dinner all the time, go on lavish holidays, plan extravagant parties and weddings and so on, because it's all most likely through credit cards. They are not safe in their jobs anymore. And even if you get a degree, get a master's, and are in a profession that is very, very high status, you have to be educated, you've got to do X, Y, and Z. There is now a very dangerous looming threat that these people can and most likely will be replaced by AI. It's important to take your rose-tinted glasses off and see the reality of the workplace, the reality of business, the reality of a career nowadays, because it ain't the same. I'm almost 40 now, but back when I was at school, there were career advisors. There were people saying, what do you want to do? You know, do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to do this? Do you want to work for the government? Whatever. And we had this sort of 1950s, 1960s idea of get a job, work for 50 odd years, and then retire, get a nice Rolex, a nice pension, and enjoy the golden years with your family, your grandkids, and so on and so forth. You could get a nice massive big house, you can get a nice car, you can travel the world and enjoy your life. Yeah, that happened for that generation. But this generation, and even the older generation now, they ain't seeing that. You ain't getting that big house, and if you do, you're getting a big, fuck-off expensive mortgage, or if you're unlucky, multiple mortgages on that property. Yeah, you could be in one day and out the next. You are not indispensable anymore. I'll give you a prime example. My dad ran a restaurant for 20 odd years. And then overnight, literally, he got very sick, got even sicker in a matter of weeks. And then he was dead. He was the boss. He was the founder. He was the owner. He was very secretive. He did his own thing. No one had a clue how to run this business. And yet, the family took it over, did their best for a couple of years, sold it on now, and the legacy lives on. But even if it wasn't sold on, the business carried on. So even in something that this man, God rest his soul, built over 20 years, he weren't safe. And who's to not think that he stressed himself out, which he did, gained a ton of weight from the stress, had other health issues which contributed him getting very ill very quickly and dying within a matter of weeks. It was literally overnight. He was okay 1 minute, then he got ill, then he got really unwell, and then he was dead. But also, let's talk about toxic workplaces and the dynamics right now. You don't know what to say, what to wear, how to think. And most importantly, and I see this a lot with a lot of people that speak to me, you just want to get on with your job. You just want to come into work, do your job, and fuck off home. And you're picking up a paycheck, it's a job. But unfortunately, you're working with morons. Because whether it's your directors or your managers or your staff, these people don't pull the weight the same you do. These people get preferential treatment because they game the system. They're going to get fucked anyway because they get fired sooner or later. Trust me, they will. And you just want to work. You're there to work. It is not a playground full of kids. It is not a community center full of people in the neighborhood. It is not a bar. It is not a place of friendship. It is a workplace. Okay? And you are there to do a job, whatever your job is. But your job gets harder and feels more unsafe because the harder you work, the more your lazy, entitled, narcissistic, stupid, arrogant colleagues and managers throw you under the bus. But also, the more you give up and you give in and you play into the system and say, fuck it, I'm going to be just like them, you still get thrown under the bus. You could have a perfect record. You could be constantly on time. You could be constantly a high achiever and you could still get fucking fired at any given time. You could do the same with a business. You could have the most cleanest record, so successful, and then boom, new taxes from the government, boom, one bad review, boom, a jealous, entitled, toxic competitor throws you under the bus, or employee, or partner. It's a mess. Like I said, we were naive. We were stupid and times were different. You get up and go to work. And you work for 50 years and then you retire. You get up or run a business, same thing. And then you retire or you sell it on. Or you give it to your kids, your grandkids. And the legacy carries on. But now, we don't know if a business is going to last 6 months, let alone 2 years. We don't know if that job you're in, you're going to be in there by Monday, if it's Friday or the weekend's approaching. You are not safe. And it's important to realize you are not safe because then you recognize what kind of is in your control. Because the people who have been killing themselves at their jobs, mentally, emotionally, physically, what's the fucking point when you're not safe regardless? The people doing the same with business. I've been guilty of doing this and I've stepped back and slowed down tremendously. What's the fucking point when you build up to that financial or that goal, whatever, and God forbid you could be dead? We are not just not safe in work, we are not safe in our lives. We have no idea what tomorrow brings. We have no idea what this afternoon, God forbid, brings. And it's not a case of living in fear or fight or flight. What's the fucking point in that? It's actually recognizing the reality of the situation. My job is replaceable. I'm replaceable. Fuck it, someone could make an AI of me and do AI videos, AI coaching of me. They could sound like me, look like me. I'm replaceable. So if you're replaceable and you're not safe, where can you feel safe? The only logical, realistic, no bullshit answer is not just working for yourself, but sorting out your life and a plan B, C, D, E. If you get fired tomorrow, what the fuck are you going to do? How are you going to survive? How are you going to afford your lifestyle? Okay, you're working towards X, Y, and Z. How are you going to get there? What if your business goes under? These are conversations I have with myself every single bloody day. Because if I'm not prepared, then what's going to happen if, God forbid, the shit hits the fan? And statistically, there is now an 80% chance in the workplace business that the shit will hit the fan. You don't become a worker anymore. You become a firefighter, constantly putting out the fires and the dangers that loom around you. It is not a flat, straight line anymore of work, retire. It is not a case of keep the same job. It's not a case of the business stays the same. We are constantly evolving in the age of technology and AI especially. Things are moving at a rapid pace, and if we don't keep up and we're not ahead of the game, we're fucked. But that's also exhausting. So you need to protect yourself. You need to make a financial plan. You need to look after yourself, and you need to think outside the box. And one thing that is most important is you must stop bullshitting yourself. Because by lying to yourself, gaslighting yourself, being around losers and idiots who tell you, oh, you know, I'm going to be in this job for life, or everything's okay, oh, you know, work is just work and everything. No. Get on this now. Recognize this now. Realize this now before it's too late. And if you are truly, well and truly sick and tired of bullshit, want to be held accountable, want to be around the right people who are moving in the right direction, light-minded, no fluff, no motivation, bollocks, no bullshit, join my free community. We discuss these things, we analyze these things, and we push each other in the direction of safety. And of course, there's no guarantee, but it's better than this shit. It's free to join. The link's in the description and pin comment down below. There are so many people on that path. So let me ask you a question. What do you genuinely feel safe about in your work? Where do you feel safe in your business? Same thing. I've said work and business, same thing. The only thing that's a guarantee is you. You're there if you're fired. You're there if you're employed. You're there if your colleagues are shit, or if they're not shit, if you're manager. You're there if your salary stays the same, doesn't go up, whatever, and so on. It's not a case of asking for a pay rise. It's not a case of asking to go up the corporate ladder. And it's certainly not a case of starting your own business. It's still the same shit. You need to figure out what's in your control, what's to your capability, and not. Because otherwise, we're royally screwed.